Hello there, lovely people. It's Alex from Nintendo Live here, and I've got to be brutally honest with you. I've been hiding something from you for some time now. My childhood was not Nintendo. I mean, that statement only really makes sense if you ignore the fact that I played a SNES very frequently, had an N64, GameCube. Okay, so my childhood was Nintendo, but I'm talking my very early childhood. My first experience with video games was not Nintendo. It was SEGA. But it wasn't SEGA. It was... If that means nothing to you, I'm talking about the Master System. This was the first console I ever used and I ever owned. In fact, this very one. God, that's a sound. Technically, my parents bought this for my brother, but he's moved on with his life now and has a proper job. And for some reason, a disproportionate number of people don't know anything about this. Now, I know you lovely people watching now, you've likely at least heard of the Master System. I'm not talking about you. I'm talking about the broad audience. You know, the type of people that, I don't know, would be interested in maybe the best version of an 8-bit Sonic game when released for Sonic Origins. All my brain could think of was Sonic Generations, and well, that's not right. Sega announced that Sonic Origins Plus was going to be getting a load of new, like, 8-bit Sonic games. Well, not new, obviously. And they're from the Game Gear, which is a worse Master System with a terrible screen. Like, the same games were released on the Master System. I grew up with these games. They are better versions because they're in a higher resolution, they run better, the sprites don't look weird. Sega's got access to these games. They can release them whenever they like. They could just so easily have put these on. Maybe even the sound would have been easier to emulate. But all this recently got me in a bit of a sort of a nostalgic funk. I was annoyed and I thought, you know what? I want to play these games again. But the Master System has, well, at least the Master System 2 has got RF out. And I don't know whether you know, but that's bad. I wanted to use my original games, my original cartridges, which this technically isn't because it was built into my Master System, but I wanted a physical. And then, as I was trying to sleep one night, I suddenly remembered that I own something a bit crap. I own a Retron 5. This is essentially like a multi-cart system. You can stick, oh, it's nasty. You've got slots for Mega Drive, you've got slots for SNES, you've got slots for NES, you've got slots for Famicom. Ow! I know what you're thinking. That's a lot of dust and no Master System slot. Well, don't you worry. You can use the power base converter. This system doesn't support dumping ROMs, but I thought, the internet's clever. The internet's probably worked it out. And the internet had. I installed some custom firmware, and it just dumps the games to an SD card. My own games. I've digitized my original collection. My childhood collection of Master System games. Digitized. My entire collection. Frank, is 8 games a collection? The shop where I got a lot of these games? Probably, because I remember going to it when I was younger, but don't specifically know which games came from where. Is still there. It's still available. In fact, you know, sort of if you're ever in the Swindon area and you fancy going to, frankly, the best retro game shop I've ever been to, pop in. Say hello to Pete. Say Alex sent you. He might go, oh! And then you can move on with your life. Yeah, no, seriously. Retro Games HQ in Swindon. It's flipping good. And I know why Sega never seems to acknowledge the Master System. It's because it wasn't really a massive success in North America. I think it was like 2 million units sold. When you compare it to the NES, that's chump change, friend. But in Europe, oh my word, in Europe, around about 6-7 million units sold, which is basically on par with the NES, and for a long time, the Master System was ahead. People liked this thing. Do you know which people liked it even more? Brazil, where it's still technically being supported. It is arguably the longest served video game system, or at least the longest support. Technically, the support isn't Sega, it's Tectoy, but, you know, they've got the license. It's crackers. They were still releasing systems like this with a cartridge slot in 2006. God, that was loud. If Sega's not going to celebrate it, then I flipping well am, and I'm going to take you through every single one of my childhood Master System games. It's 8 games. And I am not for a moment saying that these are the best games on the system or anything like that. Far from it. Some of them are actually terrible. But it's fun and exciting. Let's start off with the chairman of the board itself. Yes, Sonic the Hedgehog. Incidentally, if anyone's curious, I'm running this on my Steam Deck and capturing and using a Switch Pro controller. Modern gaming's weird. Now, you may be forgiven for thinking that, well, this just looks like a poor man's version of Sonic the Hedgehog 1. And you'd be right, except for you can kind of break this level, which is fun because... I should have fallen into many pits, but I haven't. And there we go, it's the end of the level! And that was even after a few bad intros that I had to redo, so... Oh yeah, these aren't long levels to say the least, but they're fun! You know what, they're alright. Some of them are a lot slower. This is one where you go underground. And if you... Always enjoyed that. This is definitely one of the strongest games I feel on the Master System, at least for me. I always really enjoyed it, and I was never that jealous of my friend who had a Mega Drive, which is what everyone, you know, remembers. And admittedly, to be fair, the game did not run this well on the Master System. I mean, it was still perfectly playable, but yeah, it wasn't this good. Also, weird quirk about this game. The Chaos Emeralds even, they're just hidden in the levels because it was probably easier to code. But you know what? I kind of like that. And also there's some weird, like, themings that they do, some weird level themes, which I'm going to show you. This is actually Bridge Zone. This is the second zone. Do I mean zone? I'm pretty sure I do. This is a level all about bridges. What? Sonic can bridge land? That's Alex Kidd, actually, isn't it? I'm sure it was due to hardware limitations or something like... I beg your pardon. I'm sure it was due to hardware limitations or something along those lines, but... The levels in this game are just a bit weirder in terms of like their stylings, and some of them have never actually been done in a Sonic game since. I mean, okay, maybe... Well, not Bridge Zone. Who's done flipping Bridge Zone? I made it. We've also got flipping Jungle Zone. This is great, and the music is also pretty damn excellent. Not as good as Bridge Zone, that is a crazy bop. But I've always liked Jungle Zone as well, and I've only got a few instances of things I could show you because I didn't prepare enough for this video. What's even better is the second zone, or second act, I think that's the word I was looking for earlier. Whereas the first one was very much side-scrolling, this is actually a vertical level, which I know is not like outlandish, don't get me wrong, you know, Super Mario Bros. 2 did that, but for the Master System, and, you know, just general fun, this is pretty cool, you know? You got a vertical level in a... Has Sonic ever really done vertical levels? I know they've done wraparound levels, but, like, purely vertical? Oh, there is one thing that's kind of annoying about this, though. If you fall to the bottom, it doesn't scroll back down again, you just die, which is... not entirely ideal. I really love this game. I really do. It's not the best Sonic game, but it holds so much nostalgia for me. And I think, you know, if you've never played it before, and you're looking for a new Sonic game, or at least one that you've never experienced, I can highly recommend this. I think actually in some areas... Oh, this is going to be controversial. It's better than Sonic 1 on the Mega Drive. Not in terms of visuals. Green Hill isn't as good, but like... The levels are actually somewhat fair compared to... I'm gonna die. I don't know, Sonic 1 was weirdly slow in places. At least this kind of embraces its slowness. What's the natural progression after Sonic 1 on the Master System? Yes! Lemmings! I haven't actually tried this out on the Steam Deck yet, and there seems to be something going wrong. Some things seem to be running just a little strangely. I've set it to PAL mode... Why isn't that working? I've set it to PAL mode, but it seems to still be having a bit of trouble with some of like there's like some speech, like sampled speech, and for some reason it doesn't seem to be working. It just seems to be go, pew! Usually at the start of the level it goes, let's go, which you'll hear. But this is an okay version of Lemmings, and you know what? When you're not actually using the Master System controller, which is interesting, it plays okay. Is it as good as using a mouse? Obviously not. Press button to continue. I certainly shall. It just goes, pew! It's supposed to go, let's go! But I don't know why it isn't. But this is an okay version of Lemmings. It seems to be running better than I remember as well. That's probably because it's emulated. Oh no, I'm gonna lose one! Gotcha! Easy. It's Lemmings. That means there's only one thing to do. Yeah, they don't even say, oh no! I need to look into this. There's something amiss here. Pop. Right, here we go. If you needed any proof that what I said before about this not being the best games, this will do it. This is a rubbish game, to be honest. It's really bad. It's Superman, and at the face of it, you might think, oh, it's okay. I mean, for one thing, Superman has the weediest punch in terms of range. Look at that. And everything else has projectiles. You can get a projectile, but yeah, this game's terrible. Why am I nearly dead? Am I on hard? I think I'm on hard. Game over. I don't want to continue. But this game teases you in so many ways. It's like, hey, you can fly. You can't go through that, no. You got to defeat that with just by punching it. So you fly up and then you just get hit by that. And then there's these stupid drop downs, and there's another one. Shortly after this, actually, I will get that. Some health, even though this doesn't control very well at all. So, it's all right. How am I? Okay, no, I get hit back. I get hit back. You've got to inch your way forward, and then where's the fun in that? And oh, I get the heat vision. Not that you can use heat vision if you're on the ground. You've still got to do a stupid rubbish punch. Oh, I'm gonna die. I don't even think I'm gonna be able to get to the end because I'm pretty sure there's another... Yeah, this isn't a good game. I've just worked out why the sample speech didn't work on Lemmings. That's so much better, guys. Let's go. It's I'd set the clock speed to 500% so the games would run better. Stop! Okay, we've had a duff one. It's time for a goodie. Wait for it. Xenon 2, baby. This is a great game that runs terribly on the Master System. Like, really terribly. That flicker you're seeing? Yeah, that you got that, and frankly, sometimes worse on the original system. I don't know whether it's because it's quite complicated. I mean, it still looks great, I think, when it runs properly. But it's clearly not designed for this system. It's a port, essentially, or something to that effect. Ah, I can shoot backwards! But when it does run well, even when it doesn't run well, this is a great game. And the music... This is a really great game that is better on pretty much every other system that it's on. But this is what I grew up with, and I had great fun, and I like the little shop where the man is, which I haven't reached, and I don't think I have time to show you because I need to move on. Oh, it's time for another bad one, isn't it? Oh, here we go. It's Indiana Jones, and I didn't realize I wasn't paused because there's literally no music when you're playing the game. There, you go around, there's no music, which is fine. You know, it's a Master System at the end of the day. But this game controls really badly. Like, you've got to wait for that guy to come down. You can't kill him. Your whip has ammo. Your whip has ammo. I'm running out of time. I'm just going to die in a minute. Yep, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. It might be... Yeah, if an enemy shoots you, you lose health, obviously. If an enemy touches you, you die immediately. You take fall damage. You hurt yourself if you touch the ceiling. Yeah. How did I complete this when I was younger? All right, shut up. Okay, I technically don't think I completed this when I was younger. How am I going to be able to get the thing? Time! Good lord, I'm actually making progress. It's one of those old games where it relies on difficulty to overcome the fact that there's like 3 levels. There are more than 3 levels, but they're not fun. Although I do remember enjoying the one with... Oh, I died. That's enough of that! Oh my god, it's a good one! It's Sonic the Hedgehog 2, and it actually is... This is actually a pretty good little game. It's really bizarre, and it's nothing like Sonic 2 from, on the Mega Drive. It's, classic. As you may have been able to see from the back, but just so you can see even more clearly, Sonic gets a hang glider. Tails is in it too. Except that you're rescuing Tails, he does nothing, and if you don't get all the Chaos Emeralds, you get a bad one, you get a bad ending. Because Tails literally dies, or at least it's heavily implied that he does. There's a constellation of him in the sky, which means he died. But would I blow your mind if I told you that this is the first zone? It's not green or a hill! In fact, there is a green hill. Ah, no, too far! Too far! I need to get in this minecart, because then... You never forget. You never forget where the Chaos Emeralds are. Sometimes I forget where the Chaos Emeralds are. The levels are really short, just like the first game as well. Both these Sonic games actually have like a really cruel tweak to them. Although I always thought that this was cool, this sequence. I'm just gonna let you see it. So, you know, minecart, well, I'm gonna go the quick way because I don't want to go the long way. It's really difficult to get the roll down. It's not really a spin dash. And you go, okay, whoa, down here. Oh, jump, what's down here? Oh no, I'm gonna hit the lava. Robotnik saved me? It's like he needs an adversary, or he wants to be the one to defeat him. Weird amount of like story in there, or narrative, I suppose. And then this weird fight, which is like borderline impossible on the Game Gear, but is quite simple on the Master System. Because, funnily enough, it's the first boss. It shouldn't be too hard. Also, none of the bosses, apart from obviously, don't want to spoil anything, but the final one are actually Robotnik. They're all his like minions, like big. Badniks. Ah, jump over! And Robotnik's like, you know what, you're useless. I'm taking you back as a propeller. Never quite understood that. And so you're probably thinking, what's the next level gonna be? Oh, it's gonna be a chemical plant zone or something like that. You know, some sort of like factory maybe. No, it's in the sky. This one's alright. Whoops. This one's alright. It's very short though. Like, I've been playing for 9 seconds. You'll see how quickly I can complete it. And it's not just like, oh, look at me, I'm amazing. It's just a small level, to say the least. I quite like it though. It's similar to... Oh, I can't remember what it's called now. But look, hang glider! Sonic's got a hang glider, and he means business. And that's the end of the level. But the next one, I think is actually genuinely really cool. It's still Sky High Zone, Act 2, but it's at night. And this is my original version of the game, which is kind of broken. Because to get to the Chaos Emerald, you've got to take this pretty much the entire way across the map. And if you go too high, hey, that's pretty good. We managed to avoid the turtle. If you go too high, you'll actually just not be able to get the Chaos Emerald. Because you'll hit the top of the screen, and yeah, I might have ruined it. No, yeah, it's all over. It's all over. Later revisions of the game, you can hit the top of the screen and you'll go above it, or like you won't lose your hang glider basically. Hey, that was annoying. But hey, in this one, you can collect your rings when you drop them. Hey, I'm dead. But yeah, later revisions of this game. I may have actually. I've got 2 copies of this game because I thought I lost my Master System collection, then I found it. But by that point, I'd already bought a load of them. Sonic Moonwalks. We've had a good one. Now it's time for a rough one. I mean, to be fair, this game looks pretty good. Like, visually, the graphics are not bad for the Master System, certainly considering this is quite, well, a reasonably early one. Unfortunately, it... Okay, I wouldn't say this is a bad game, but it's a very obtuse game. So I've got to select my hero. This is an Advanced Dungeons and Dragons game. This is Heroes of the Lance, I didn't say. Flint is like the best warrior. And then maybe I want to switch Caramon because he's rubbish. With Gold Moon so I can use my clerical staff spells if I need to. But the oh god, as you can see, it's so slow. Hey, to run, you press forwards and up. Attack! Hey, it kind of worked. You can even jump, and it's so slow. But this game is just so obtuse. Okay, magic missile spell to tech message. Final strike, burning hands. I don't know. Web! Is that gonna... What happened? I'm confused. And to attack down, you've got to press, like, forward and down and... Oh, great, they're dead. Gold Moon's basically dead as well. You can't complete the game without Gold Moon. I need to complete this game at some point. But it is... Hey, look, there's a pouch. clerical staff spells. Can I raise dead on Flint? Yes! Can I raise dead on him? Yes! Huh. Hang on, have I even got any magic, like, limitation? Cure critical wounds. Cure critical wounds. Can I do this indefinitely? Okay, this game may actually be quite easy. But that's something for another time. Let's round it off with a goodie. A surprising goodie, actually, which was never released outside of, well, it wasn't released in North America, let's put it that way. It's the Flash. It looks a bit silly, but actually, this is a, like, weirdly good game. Like, it has no right to be as good as it is. It's really smooth, really fluid. There's a lot going on, a lot of cool levels. It's of that era where every superhero had their own version of the Joker as an enemy, and they've got Trickster here. I'm pretty sure that was a thing. Pizza! But yeah, this is just a weirdly good game, and there's, like, hidden collectibles that are not required, but, you know, there's, like, these gems that you can get. You've got to find a switch before you can leave. It's quite hard, but at the same time you get a lot of lives, and there's pizza pretty commonly. It does get harder, though. Ah! And, isn't there a secret? Oh, yeah, there's a secret down here. Ho-ho! More time! Because, yeah, if you spend too long, a UFO comes along and tries to kill you. Standard. I do think the earlier levels are the best, though. The later levels, the bosses are pretty cool. But the, some of the later levels are a little bit more sort of like, beginner trappy. Great music as well. This is one of the later levels. I think this is the third world, and there's 2 levels in each. Ay. There's 2 levels in each, I believe, but there's like spike trap floors and stuff. It's a tough game, but it's fair. It's not like Advanced Dungeons and Dragons, where it's just tough for the sake of it. But also, I think the game looks pretty good, and frankly, it runs quite well as well. Like, I remember as a child thinking how fast this game felt, and that was usually an indicator to me that a game was running well. At least looking back on it, I didn't know that at the time. But, you know, it feels fast. You actually feel like the Flash. It's pretty responsive. Overall, this is actually like a weirdly good game. A nice little hidden gem, if you like. And if you've never played it, which I'm pretty confident you haven't, don't you throw nothing at me. I highly recommend you give it a go. The only thing is, it's quite expensive. It's kind of, I suppose in some ways, it's a bit like Dosh and the Giant. Hang on. Ooh, goop. It's kind of roughly the same price as something like Dosh and the Giant. Because I got a duck. I'm in the goop again. I've actually got 2 copies of it because, again, it's the same thing as before. I thought I lost all my games. It turned out I hadn't. I just didn't look hard enough. So I've got 2 copies of these, which I don't need to. But there you have it. That is my early childhood right there. Like, my really early childhood was those 8 games over the course of years, no doubt, of picking them up. But, yeah. And I think it's a shame that it's kind of forgotten. There's some good things in there. And, you know, no doubt there are more obscure systems out there than that. I mean, I know there are, but I really like it. I think there's a lot to love about it. And frankly, I can't believe that anyone would consider the Game Gear versions of games that are available on the Master System. And there are quite a lot, including, I've got a newie for myself. I've got Sonic Chaos. It's dreadful, but it's quite short. Incidentally, if you're a bit of a retrohead and you like this kind of thing, head over to timeextension.com. It's our new website. I say new, it's not that new, but you know, it's still the youngest, to say the least, doing all sorts of mad retro stuff. It's a flippin' good time. If you want to give the Master System a look in, it's actually a reasonably inexpensive system to start collecting for, because there's not that much buzz around it unless you live in Brazil, in which case it's still being supported, which is insanity. Some games naturally are more expensive than others, but you know, the likes of this, I bought this from Peter, Retro Games HQ in Swindon, only a few days ago. And yeah, it was like, what, 8 or 9 quid or something like that? Bargain. The Flash is another matter, of course, as I've already said. But you can't have mine. Even though I don't need to. Thank you so much for watching. If you like this video, then why don't you slide back the dust cover on that subscribe button and see what delights lurk within. And be sure to check out NintendoLife.com and Time Extension for all sorts of lovely Nintendo and retro-related content. Thank you again for watching. Bye-bye. Thank you so much for watching. If you like this video, then why don't you slide back the dust cover on that subscribe button? That's loud and I'm getting notifications.